Texas agent from La Folla, Tennessee, Brian Henniger, whose 3-day cash winnings total $68,202. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Ken Jennings.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert. Thanks, folks. Welcome to Jeopardy. You know, following his third victory on yesterday's show, I remarked to our champion, Brian Henniger, "You look like a kid in a candy store." To which he replied, "I am. Oh, I am." Well, if you're counting correct responses as confections, Brian collected an impressive 33 of them in yesterday's game. He's certainly enjoying a sweet run so far. But Brandy and Rachel would like to wrap up the week as a Jeopardy champion, I'm sure. Good luck, everyone. Here we go into the Jeopardy round. Your categories will be, first, Norway is famous for, then we have Americana, landing on planet franchise, you'll name the franchise, decomposing, good E, two shoes. Brian, what strikes your fancy?
Landing on planet franchise for 600.
Caprica. We're talking about frackin' Caprica. Rachel?
What is Battlestar Galactica?
That's the franchise.
Franchise for 4.
Romulus and give me Genesis. Brian?
What is Star Trek?
Yes.
Franchise 800.
Mobius, where Dr. Robotnik schemed. Brandy?
What is Sonic the Hedgehog?
That's correct.
Planet franchise for 1,000.
Mongo. He'll save every one of us. Brian?
What is Flash Gordon?
Yes.
Franchise 200.
Tatooine, where the Womp Rats roam. Brian?
What is Star Wars?
Yes.
Decomposing 600.
This Peter and the Wolf music maker stopped rushing around in March 1953. Brian?
Who is Prokofiev?
That's correct.
800 decomposing.
This Frenchman died on December 28th, 1937, never knowing he'd play a crucial musical part in a Bo Derek film. Brian?
Who is Maurice Ravel?
Correct, composer of Bolero.
1,000 decomposing.
Well, you just found the Daily Double in the round. You can wager up to 3,000, Brian.
Just 1,000.
Here's your clue in decomposing. On March 25th, 1918, the sun set on this moonlight composer in Paris.
Who is Stravinsky?
No, I'm sorry. Moonlight, in this case, Clair de Lune.
Oh,
by Claude Debussy, yes. That drops you down to 2,000, but you have control of the board.
That's okay. Decomposing 200.
Doing anything to avoid tax day, this Messiah composer departed Earth on April 14th, 1759. Brian?
Who is Handel?
Yes.
And 400 decomposing.
After taking aim at William Tell and then quitting theater entirely at age 37, he quit more than that on November 13th, 1868. Brian?
Who is Giacomo Rossini?
Correct again.
Let's try good E for 200.
Meaning concerned with moral principles, this word is used to describe a type of veganism. Brandy?
What is ethical?
You got it.
Good E for 400.
The Las Vegas Raiders are known for their commitment to this 10-letter word. In fact, it's their motto. Rachel?
What is excellence?
Yes.
Americana for 6.
A few things about this iconic item. Its strike note is E flat, it weighs a ton, and Pennsylvania is missing the second N on it. Brian?
What is Liberty Bell?
That's correct.
Good E for 600.
Seen here is Bernini's sculpture called This of St. Teresa, capturing a rapturous moment. Brandy?
What is ecstasy?
That's correct.
Good E for 800.
This word from Greek can refer to a perfect model of how to act or be, or to a summary of a literary work. What is epitome? All right, the champ's in the lead as we head into our first break. We'll be back in just a moment or two. Stay with us. Rachel Clark from Washington, D.C. is a director of client strategy and, like me, the child of a school librarian.
Yep.
Is that right? Is your mom, who's an or what kind of librarian is your
She's an elementary school librarian at a public school in my hometown, Oswego, New York. And when I first got the call that I was going to be on the show, went ahead and just raided her library for children's reference books. So we'll see how that works out.
That's the James Holtzauer secret.
Exactly.
Is reference books. We'll see if it pays off. Brandy Ash is a personal assistant from Panama City, Florida, with an obsession. What are you obsessed with?
Socks.
How obsessed? I mean, I'm wearing socks right now. Do I count? Am I obsessed?
Do they have cute creatures on them?
I'm gonna say no. I haven't double checked.
You're not obsessed enough.
How many socks do you own, Brandy?
More than 600 pairs.
All with different creatures.
Most of them, yes.
That's great. That's a good look. Our champion, Brian Henniger, is from La Follette, Tennessee. Now, before I ask you a question, Brian, I have to announce a change in scoring.
Okay.
Our judges have determined that you were not close enough to the correct first name of Gioacchino Rossini, which means we're going to have to deduct $800 from your score, knocking you down to $2,400, which is a bad note to start this conversation off on, but
That's okay.
we've been announcing you all week as a guest services agent. What does that mean?
Well, basically, I work for a national chain of gas stations. We mostly deal with professional truck drivers and professional drivers. My job is I basically talk to these individuals all day long. I help arrange parking spaces, go over some stuff with them, help them find the nearest location they can get help on their loads, help them get work on their trucks. It is an extremely rewarding job because I get to help people all day long.
Helping out truck drivers.
Exactly.
Kings of the road.
And they're the people that keep this country moving, and they don't get enough thanks.
Absolutely. Brandy, you gave us the last correct response. Pick up your signaling devices, you three. We're back into the game.
2 shoes for 200, please.
Capezio is a premier maker of the soft, flat shoes called These, prized by certain dancers. Brian?
What are ballet shoes?
Yes.
Yeah. The 2 shoes, 400.
The sneakers bearing his name are often identified by Roman numerals. He wore the 18 the year he retired from the Wizards. Brian?
Who's Michael Jordan?
Right?
2 shoes, 600.
Australian surfer Brian Smith chose sheepskin for these comfy boots, which became ever-present in the SoCal beach scene. Brian?
What are Uggs?
Correct.
800, 2 shoes.
The men's brogues seen here can be described this way, also the title of a Carl Perkins classic. Brian?
What are blue suede shoes?
Right you are.
And 1,000, 2 shoes.
This maker of the Skyline cowboy hat also makes cowboy boots. Brian?
What is Stetson?
That's correct, and you just ran that category. You know your shoes. You got a stock expert and a shoe expert. Select again, Brian.
All right, good E for 1,000.
Also a type of apartment, it's the competent quality by which you carry out your job. Brian?
What is an efficiency?
That's correct.
Okay, Norway is famous for $200.
Exporting and eating this fish that can be made into gravlax. Brian?
What is salmon?
Yeah.
Okay, Norway 400.
These long, narrow inlets, like the Sone, Norway's longest and deepest one. Brian?
What are the fjords?
Right.
600 Norway.
These mythical beings that are hostile to humans and may live in the mountains or underground. Brian?
What are trolls?
That's right.
800 Norway.
It's great dramatist Henrik Ibsen, and for this composer whom Ibsen asked to write music for his play Peer Gynt. Rachel?
Who is Sibelius?
No, I'm sorry. Brian or Brandy? Sibelius was Finnish, I'm afraid. Edvard Grieg, the Norwegian. Brian, back to you.
Norway for 1,000, please.
Being the home of this explorer who led the first expedition to reach the South Pole. Brandy?
Who's Amundsen?
Yes, good for 1,000.
Americana for 200.
According to this song, the title guy went to town a-riding on a pony. Brandy?
Who's Yankee Doodle?
Right.
400 Americana.
A 1952 song inserted "the" into this character's name, but the Forest Service insists it's just 2 words. Brian?
Who is Smokey Bear?
Smokey Bear.
800, please, Americana.
Try a lattice top for this dessert, long a symbol of America, even though it originated elsewhere. Rachel?
What's apple pie?
That's right. And the final clue in Americana, you can ride in a Model T in this village of historic Americana, created by Henry Ford in Dearborn, Michigan. Tough one, that's Greenfield Village. Brian, you're off and running in the Jeopardy round. Rachel, you'll be selecting first when we come back with Double Jeopardy in just a moment. Brian's off to a quick start, but Brandy and Rachel, that can change very quickly.